Simplified Chaos, Episode 80.
Life is beautiful and full of chaos.
And it can get slightly out of hand if that shit's not tamed.
We're here to share how to simplify the little things to help you lead a more intentional life.
This is Simplified Chaos.
Hey, wonderful friends. Welcome to Simplified Chaos. This is Jillian, one of your hosts, and I'm with my co-host and husband, Nicholas.
What's going on, folks? Hope you all are having a wonderful day today. Jilly, we have another great episode for our listeners. What are we getting into?
Today's topic is all about healthier replacements.
What kind of healthier replacements? I guess you're going to have to find out.
Cheese. You sound so cheesy.
I know. I like the cheese a little bit.
Aww.
We're podcasting with our dog, Ripkin. She's got her tail between her ass. I don't know what's going on.
I think she's scared because we're talking into a microphone.
Yeah, she's like, what is going on here? You guys are crazy.
Oh, no.
Oh,
okay,
God.
Ripkin.
But before we dive into today's topic, as always, we want to show a little gratitude. So, Jilly, what are you grateful for this week?
I am grateful for friends.
What kind of friends?
Well, I had an old coworker. I've known her for 11 years, and she reached out randomly on Instagram and said, like, hey, I got a free bag of kale and some vegetables I got from a farmer if you want it, because she knows I'm like a kale fanatic.
You never turn down kale.
Kale, no. And so we drove and picked it up, and she was like, I put it on the doorstep for you in a bag. And I was like, this feels like a drug deal.
Kind of. It's a COVID deal,
I know.
which are all drug deals.
Touche. So I went and picked it up, and I left her Justin's peanut butter cup on her porch. Hopefully she got it.
Oh, yeah.
We were joking the whole time that...
I'm really hoping she immediately went outside and got her, or else it would have melted within 5 seconds.
And I told her that. I was like, so I left a gift for you. Or I said I left one drug that it's gonna melt if you don't get it. But we joke all the time and are sarcastic, so I'm really hoping
I
that
was wondering where that third Justin's peanut butter cup went.
Hopefully Katie took me serious and actually rescued the Justin's peanut butter cup before it melted, because it's pretty hot.
Yeah, those things are like gold. They're like $3 a piece for a little mini.
I know.
I'm kidding. They're not that expensive, but they are a little expensive.
Quality.
And yeah, absolutely.
What about you? What are you grateful for?
Summertime thunderstorms.
Yeah.
Not only do they help water the grass when you haven't had rain in a long time, but our daughter loves jumping in puddles. And it was really fun last night just walking around. We didn't even wait for the rain to stop. We got outside right as the rain was stopping and just started jumping in puddles and took the adventure through a couple different neighborhoods and just watched her soak her shoes and walk around in wet socks, which would drive me nuts. But for toddlers, they could give a shit.
I was actually pretty surprised that you went out there when it was raining, because you're usually the type that doesn't want to get wet or dirty.
Oh, come on. I'm not like that.
You kind of are,
if
on
it's
purpose.
pouring, I'm not going to go outside. Although I had to, go outside and stop the water from going, or to get in the drain so it didn't flood our basement. Yeah. I got soaked.
Yeah. I enjoy
the damage was done.
I like lightning and thunder. I know they can do some damage, but they're really epic to watch.
Hell yeah. But yeah, no, it was there was a nice storm yesterday, and we definitely reaped all the benefits from it, which I think segues into our topic.
It does it.
A little bit.
Tell me more.
Healthier choices.
Yes.
For COVID. Get some excitement in
We've
your
noticed
life.
that this time is such... I mean, I want to say I'm used to it. I'm used to it, but at the certain time, at the certain aspect of it is that I think you can easily fall into slightly unhealthier habits.
It's very easy to.
Just as a coping mechanism, so to speak. Oh, I can't do this, so I might as well do this. Mm-hmm. Oh, we can't do that, so I might as well do that. And a lot of times it's maybe not the best choice. And I've noticed I've started slipping into certain habits that are not the healthiest. I've probably been watching a little bit extra YouTube TV, or maybe drinking a little bit more. There's certain things that I've
You
noticed.
had a lovely beverage before this podcast.
Yes, I've noticed it, and I'm mindful of it. But at the same time, I'm trying to switch it.
Hashtag new normal.
Sort
Kidding.
Of, yeah. I'm trying to find replacements so that way I'm just doing something better and I'm recognizing it. And I thought it would be something just to talk about because I know the monotony of being at home. And sometimes we go to food or TV or something to numb it and cope it because it's
or to fill the
dissatisfying
space.
and it's not as exciting. Yeah, the void.
Yeah.
So I thought we can just be real and talk about some of the things that we've been doing just to kind of replace some of those habits we've been, at least I can personally say that I've been kind of slipping into, and I recognize it, and I'm making some changes.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a good idea for those who have not listened to us since the beginning, and I can't believe we're at 80 episodes already, but
Yeah.
I think it's probably a good idea to kind of paint a picture of like what our typical, I guess, I don't want to say week, but what our lifestyle was before the whole COVID thing and quarantine. And then that way we can kind of talk about some of the things that we've fallen into during the quarantine and then what we've done to bring a little bit more health and excitement to what it is that we're
Sure.
doing. So, before COVID and drop in whenever you want to here, I feel like part of our routine was date nights, if not every week, but at least every other week. Finding a place to go to where you and I can just shoot the shit, talk about life, things that we're doing. And we did a great episode on that last week, talking about rediscovering date nights and the importance of date nights. But, we would do date nights. We would have at least one or two vacations planned with some getaways in there. Movie nights with friends. We would go to sporting events. I had softball, which is supposed to be happening in 2 weeks. So I may be back on the softball field soon. We'll see what happens there. But, we had a lot of things to bring excitement to our lives that were part of our routine. I don't know if I'm missing anything, but we've canceled
Traveling.
our vacations for this year already.
We were able to travel and do getaways very easily.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's a little bit trickier where we have to find places that there's a lot of activities primarily outdoors, and are there places that we can do takeout if we do drive all that way, and can we still, because we like to enjoy the cuisine in that area if we're traveling.
That's like a big selling point of going anywhere for us.
Yeah, so there's a lot of little joys that we get out of trips that we just have to be more mindful and really examine. Is it worth it? Is there even places open that we can enjoy while we're out there?
What is the COVID situation in that particular state? I mean, I've got a coworker who just canceled their trip to South Carolina next week just because it's getting pretty bad there. And I talked to her today, and she's pretty bummed out about it. There's kind of a couple things going on there, but I mean, it's kind of the reality. It's like we've built all the excitement for plans this year. You and I had 2 trips planned that we were hoping would happen, but we've canceled those plans. Like getting on an airplane for right now for us is not worth the risk. So we're coming up with alternative plans.
I think bottom line is that we're not having as many experiences outside of the house, and those are big voids that we have to fill in.
Yeah,
we're like,
huge.
All right, what can we do to fill that void, but in a meaningful way that it's still bringing us joy and it has value to us. And it's taking some time to kind of readjust because we've kind of gone and let's just watch more TV. Oh, let's drink a little bit more alcohol because
we've gone through those. Yeah,
we have.
Yeah.
And I recognized it, and I was like, all right, I gotta find some other activities, things that I take for granted, or things that I'm like, oh, I always said I wanted to get back into that, but I just haven't, and I kept making excuses. And I guess, are you done painting the picture? Can we talk about some of our
I think in the last month we've really kind of stepped our game up as far as bringing some health back into our lives and some excitement, trying to find different things. So why don't you kick off the list here?
So one of the things I've started doing is I've started biking again.
Yeah, you have.
And luckily I have a coworker who loves biking a lot. So it's like I kind of make appointments, so to speak, with her. So that way it gets me out of the house and we get to explore. It may not be in a fancy getaway and we get to dine in all these places, but number one, it gets me out of the house. I get to see a person and have conversation.
Hell yeah.
And I get to like see nature and be outside on a bike. And I haven't biked this much in a very long time. And I'm really excited about it. And I actually did my first solo bike ride not that long ago. And I was really tempted to like go to my phone and watch something or scroll. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go on a bike ride. And I'm so glad I did because it made me feel so much better than what I was going to do. So I'm recognizing more when I have that, I guess, that draw to go to my phone and do something on my phone when it's really not going to add any value to my life. Honestly, it's probably just going to be mindless shit. I just like, hey, let me either go for a walk, get outside, but even like walking has become kind of monotonous because
we've done it a lot.
We've done a lot of neighborhood walks.
And it's also starting to get really effing hot.
And I noticed that I can I can still like go in my neighborhood, but by bike, it's a lot faster and I can go a lot further and explore new places. And that's kind of how I found a new walking path that we explored not that long ago.
Yeah, that was cool.
Because I was able to do that on a bike. I was able to go by myself and like explore other areas that normally we don't go that far.
I'm going to call you the scout.
Thank you.
Scout out new areas.
So I would say biking has been such a healthy replacement for getting out of the house and experiencing new things, and I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. So one of the things that I've picked up was a hobby, which I am hoping turns into a hobby. I mean, it's a project right now for the house, but I'm really enjoying this thing.
It's already a hobby. Do you enjoy doing it?
Yeah.
It's a hobby.
Yeah. But I'm into making furniture. Now it's rudimentary furniture. It's nothing crazy. I don't have like a lathe where I can spin table legs or anything like that.
I was like, I don't even know what a lathe is, but when you were describing it, I'm like,
oh, you had to have used a lathe in 8th grade tech ed.
No, I made a keychain and a CD rack. Yeah.
I wanted to make a baseball bat on the lathe, but by the time I got to 8th grade, some of the previous classmen had ruined that. So we weren't, because they were considered weapons at that point. I guess somebody had made a bat using the lathe and decided to smack somebody with it or something. Damn kids. I know, but man, I am having a lot of fun building this farmhouse table, which will be on our back patio. It's been a labor of love. And it's filled a lot of time. I mean, it took me 5 hours to put the table together, and I've probably now spent about 15 hours sanding. Would you say more or less with the sanding? Probably more.
I mean, all I know is that every time I open up the garage door to see what you're doing, you're still sanding. And I'm like,
I'm still on the 80 grit paper
you're in the
too.
Sand
I'm like getting ready to go to the 120 grit, and then I have to do the 220. But right now it's about getting the tabletop flat, and I don't have the appropriate toolage to make a flat table.
Well, apparently your definition of flat is completely different than mine, because every time I see it, it looks flat, and you're like, no, it's not.
It's almost there, Jilly. I promise. But picking up a hobby is good. Not only just making the table, but another hobby. You can sell stuff. You can go through your house and find things that you're not using anymore and sell it on Facebook. We did an episode very early about our side hustles, and the nice thing about Facebook Marketplace is that you can basically make it a touchless transaction with folks. Like, you can require Venmo or PayPal or Cash App or whatever as far as a payment goes, and then you just leave the item on your porch, and the person comes and picks it up. I mean, it depends on what the item is. I mean, if it's something huge, then you may need to help out and put it in the car. But I mean, you can make it really easy. You can make money. You can clean your house. You can get rid of stuff that you're no longer using. And, it's healthy and exciting.
It is.
It is. What do you got?
So I kind of already mentioned it earlier that walking around our neighborhood, we usually do that after dinner, has become not as exciting because we've walked it like during the day. In the morning,
there's
sometimes.
only so many sidewalks you can walk on without having to pick up and drive somewhere.
One thing we've been doing is at least once or twice a week, we've been going in the car and driving to a park, somewhere that's not that far, but just somewhere where we can just see different sights. And maybe we might run into people, but if not, that's cool too. It's just like new playgrounds, just new scenery, just something that's just a fresh breath of air that's different than our community. I love our neighbors to death.
Oh, yeah.
And I love talking to them. But at the same time, it's like, I need to see something different, you know?
Yeah,
Just
I mean, we've gotten to know our
hint.
neighbors really well over the last 4 months, which has been awesome.
Amazing.
Like, you know, I don't know that we'd otherwise do that, although our one neighbor just put in an above ground pool. So that is kind of bringing the community together. So I think regardless, that would have eventually happened. But, you know, it's really forced us to have, well, I don't want to even say force us. That just sounds like a bad way. But, you know, we've had those conversations with our neighbors and it's been really fun getting to know them. But you're right. I mean, you can only talk about COVID or whatever so much, or being at home. And so, you know, we've had to go out and explore and find new places for us to walk around and meet new people. I mean, you know, today we went to a new park and there was another couple there with their 2 kids and they didn't speak English. Like they spoke Spanish, but you know, Lucille and their kids were kind of playing together and it was really fun. Like it was a good time. There was nobody at this park either, which was really nice. Like I felt like we had it all to ourselves. It was an exclusive visit for us and we made it fun and exciting.
And I think, I mean, now more than ever, it's important that we get out of our comfort zone and go to new places and see diverse atmospheres. Like with everything happening, it's like I want Lucille to think it's normal to hear different languages or see people that don't look like us. And I think it's important that we have to get out of the house sometimes to do that because it may not be in our immediate surrounding, you know, so I think that's an important aspect of as well that I honestly didn't think about until just now. So,
well, and there's a good episode that we did. I think it was around episode 30 something where it was the tourist mindset. I think it was 38. But it's just like discovering things around you that you didn't otherwise, you know. So just think of yourself as a tourist again, and say, you know, what can I explore? And you don't have to go far. You don't have to travel 50, 100 miles. I mean, we traveled, 6 miles a day to find a place that we haven't been to in forever or that we forgot that was there. We had a great time. So, you know, open those Google Maps or Apple Maps and find a park or find something interesting that you otherwise would never have gone to.
So true, honey.
Hell yeah.
Oh, I had something else and now I forgot.
Uh-oh. I've got something.
All right, go for it.
Have more sex.
Yeah. I think we've had the same. Have we had the same amount?
I think we've had the same amount,
I
but
think that's changed.
when COVID first started, I think we were having a lot more. Just like
you would know more than I.
I do. I keep track of that shit.
You
I've got a diary in it. No, I'm just kidding.
Sex diary.
But no, I mean, shit. Why not? And I'm sure there's a lot of COVID babies happening right now. But if you don't want a COVID baby, wrap that shit up.
Or
dudes.
Parents were so stressed out, they're like, fuck this, I'm going to bed because I am wiped.
Yeah.
I don't know. It could have a reverse effect as well.
Yeah, but that's always a fun activity.
All right. So this is, for me personally, I think now because I'm home more, and this could be just the woman part of me, I have a lot more time to be with myself and my thoughts. And
is that a good or a bad thing?
It can be good and bad. I think when you have, you know, this little device and you see other people, and I'm doing really good at not comparing myself, but I think it can be easy to go back to negative thoughts and just saying, why don't I look like her? Or why aren't I doing that exercise right now? Or why am I not doing this because I have all of this time at home? So I think it can be really easy to go down that freaking black hole of just speaking to yourself in a bad way. And I'm changing that. Like I'm doing a lot, and I don't really say it out loud, but I think I'm consuming even more positive thoughts and even saying things in my head like, you're beautiful today. Like, look at your body. I can't believe you could do that. Like, I'm constantly trying to reframe my thoughts, even though I think I'm a pretty positive person and I have good self-talk. I'm finding myself, because I have all this time and thoughts with the device and I'm at the home and I'm not getting out of the house a lot. I'm going slightly backwards a little bit. And I think I'm trying even harder now just to really amp up my positivity to myself and just pour that out to other people too, because I think if I'm feeling that, I think other people may need that as well.
Well, I think that goes, and not just women, but I think it goes for men too. I mean, there's just a lot of negativity out there right now when you pick up your phone and you're scrolling social media. Like, I see stuff and, from people, and I'm just like, I don't want to see them in a different light because of their beliefs, but they're putting this stuff out there, and it's hard not to have those thoughts and just like, well, this person is thinking this way, or this person's thinking that way. I wish they'd keep their opinions to themselves. I mean, I don't care. Like, people can express themselves however they want to. Like, that's totally fine. And like, I find myself like wanting to reply to it, but I've done really well about like, just, you know what? It's not going to solve anything. I'm not going to solve any kind of social or political or any kind of commentary on social media. It's just not worth getting into those battles. But, you also see the people who are maybe not adhering to, the precautions that are necessary to make sure that we stop the spread of this thing, and are going on vacations, and you start getting jealous and like, man, we could go here, we can go there. We've keep reminding ourselves that, this year is our pause year. Like, it's not a pause week. It's not a pause day. It's not a pause month. It's a pause year. Like, that's
what it seems like.
And I think canceling those 2 trips was like the reality check. It was like,
True.
We had a lot of optimism, even at the beginning of COVID. It was like, you know what, this thing will pass, the summer will kind of kill it off or whatever. And now we're seeing these spikes here, and I don't know if it's good or bad. Again, it's like one of those things that you don't really want to roll the dice with, especially with family and so it's just finding those ways to turn these negative things into positives, and just taking that different mindset, taking the high road. And it's making me not want to be on social media all that much. So it's nice to kind of recognize that and say, you know what, I'm not going to get into that bullshit. I'm going to keep my focus. I'm going to pick up my hobbies. I'm going to do work around the house that I've been putting off. Those are the kind of things that I'm more excited about.
And I think that's kind of why we're using these healthier voids now, is because I know I'd rather be proactive than reactive. I don't want to hear something or see something and then just immediately just start just going down those habits that I didn't have in the before this, just like talking negative about myself or like talking negative about someone else. It's like, no, I'm shutting this down now. If I think the best thing we can do is just to continue to be conscious and mindful about how we're reacting to certain things. And if we catch ourselves, it's like, all right, so what can I do instead?
Right.
And I think I'm kind of glad we're having this conversation now, because there are some enlightening things that I didn't even know that you brought up that I didn't even think about. Like, I remember you saying that you would see people on social media, like putting out certain posts or doing this, and it was making you feel a certain way. And it's like, at the same time, like, we can't control their narrative. Like, sure, they can put it out there and we may not agree with it, but it's like, you're right. It's a waste of energy to like even get mad at it. It's just like, you know what? They're going to do them. The only thing we can control is ourselves, and just do the best we can, putting out a message of what we believe and to try to help people. Yeah.
I mean, I like that I'm more mindful, and when I find myself getting mad, I'm just like, because I'm mindful, I'm like, it's easy for me to overcome it and just be like, you know what, it's not worth this, just move on, do a different activity, find something useful to do, educate yourself on something that you're excited about. So there's a lot of different things to like, when I start feeling that way, it's just like, okay, it's time to change what I'm doing. So, again, we talk about being mindful all the time, and it's just, now it's that time more than ever is to be mindful of the things that, are causing you anxiety, stress, depression, whatever it is, and make a change. And, we're trying to do a lot of different things, to keep our lives healthy and to keep things exciting for us as we move through this craziness.
100%.
Yeah. Anything else there, Jilly?
I will share this. I feel like we're very grateful that we have some things to look forward to that I think are kind of helping replace some negative habits or some unhealthier habits that we were having. Is that my sister is getting married, And there is a lot of planning involved. So I feel grateful that I have a job to do, as that I am her maid of honor. So I am planning, bridal showers. I'm planning her bachelorette party. I'm helping her with wedding plans. And it may look different, like not as many people, or, we're not renting venues. We're kind of staying at home. And
you're doing it on a short timeline too, because we weren't even sure if things were going to happen or not.
So I feel like I have a sense of purpose just trying to make this experience as best as I can for my sister.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful that I have something to plan and look forward to. And I feel like if you don't have anything to plan or look forward to, maybe even start plan something small for your family, like monthly cookouts or like themed game nights of some sort where, you can be with people that you trust. And I don't know. I think if you don't have something to plan, look forward to, I know that I'm grateful that I do. Like maybe that could be something helpful to kind of help people just find a new direction in all of this to bring more happier experiences to the situation.
Good stuff, baby.
Yeah.
I enjoy that. All right. Do you have any resources for our listeners today?
I do.
Sure you do.
I found this book. I didn't read the book, but it had some pages of the introduction, and I read some really interesting things. So the book is called You Are Not Your Brain, and it's the 4-step solution for changing bad habits. And yes, so I read something that I thought was really interesting. It said, I'm all about research and facts and all that stuff when it comes to your brain. And I think it's fascinating, as we all should, since we all have one,
Most of us do.
I read this part in the introduction. It said, the more often you act in these unhealthy ways, the more you teach your brain that what is simply a habit is essential to your survival. Your brain does not distinguish whether the action is beneficial or destructive. It just responds to how you behave and then generates strong impulses, thoughts, desires, cravings, and urges that compel you to perpetuate your habit, whatever it may be. Unfortunately, more often than not, these behaviors are not ones that improve your life. And that just kind of, I don't know, confirms that whatever we're doing, whether it could be good for you, could be bad for you, your brain isn't really comprehending what it is. And just to be even more mindful, to me, that recognizing the ones that aren't so good and then working your damnedest to change it, because your brain's not going to tell you whether it's good for you or not. You have to be the one to make that decision and change it.
You have to recognize it first and then be willing to make that change.
I even call it out loud. I even told you, I was like, listen, Nick, I'm drinking too much. Call me out on it. I don't want to do this as much as we have been. And, I didn't even talk about this. I've been starting to buy sparkling water just because I've been wanting a change of water. So, and I feel like I've been going to alcohol when I'm I'm so tired of drinking water.
Because, we really only have water. We have kombucha in the house, and then we have milk. That's our choice of liquids.
So buying LaCroix, I don't usually buy sparkling water a lot, but I started buying LaCroix, and that's kind of a healthier replacement than always trying to use alcohol at the end of the day to unwind. I don't need it to unwind, but I find that we can't really go out
something
anywhere.
Different than coffee or water.
Exactly. We forgot about coffee. So,
staple.
So usually if I have something unhealthy that I don't like that I'm doing, I'm call it out to you so you can kind of keep me accountable for it. But yeah, so anyway, it sounds like a fascinating book about changing habits and the brain and all that kind of fun jazz. But I wanted to read that because it kind of spoke to me about this topic.
We'll link that in the show notes in case you want to check it out.
Yeah.
How about that quote of the day there, Jilly?
So the quote of the day is by Richard Bach. I don't know who it is.
Dick Buck.
Bach, like an
Bach
musician.
Johann Sebastian.
Sure, honey.
Bach.
My Bach hurts.
Oh God.
Baby got Bach. All right,
go on with the
okay.
We can go all night with this.
I'm trying to think of more in my head.
Don't.
I'll be Bach.
Oh God.
Okay, I'm done.
And people just tuned out for the rest.
Okay.
Tune in for this quote.
We design our lives through the power of choices.
Boom. Good job, Bach.
He did well.
He did. And what is your take action challenge for our listeners this week?
Our take action challenge that we are going to be doing alongside with you, as we are always doing. It's like our homework as well, is just to be mindful of your habits that you're acquiring and make choices that are benefiting you guys.
Hell yeah.
Shazam.
All right, folks. Well, that's going to do it for today's episode. If you like today's episode, please do us a favor and help us spread the message. You can do this by writing a review or simply sharing this episode with a friend. And remember, sharing sparks a conversation. Conversation leads to action. And action is how we're able to live a happy and intentional as hell lifestyle. We want to thank you all for listening today, and we will see you again next week.
See you later, guys.